Friends, there are lots and lots of signs that we are in a tremendous crisis. We got record high prices for things like orange prices and orange juice. We got stores like Walgreens shutting down thousands of stores across the country. We have U.S. profit growth negative for the largest companies. We got the USDA quietly out there culling even more chickens. The egg prices, if you think that they're under control right now, friends, they're going to get worse. We got a lot of indications that things are bad right now, but they're getting worse. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to do a whirlwind tour of what's going on around the world, and we're going to try doing it before that rains on me. All right, welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and I just got my 18 kilometers done today, a light day, and I have not yet washed my my clothes in the sink. They just started doing that. Want to get that done before it rains too. But friends, I know a lot of people out there are saying that the economy is doing great, and I know you and I know that that's not true. We can just look around, we can just figure out what's going on, and even if I am on the other side of the ocean over here in Spain currently, I know it as I'm looking at all the statistics, I'm looking at the numbers that are coming out. Even as these companies are reporting their earnings, things are not looking good. Just this for instance, U.S. manufacturing output plunged in September 0.4%. Now, remember, that's all manufacturing across the entire United States, plunging in just 1 month, 0.4%. If you annualize that, it's not good, okay? 4.8% annualized. That is a collapse of the U.S. economy like we haven't seen since 2008. So now this is just 1 month, but it does can move the trend over the course of the year so that we are now definitely in negative contraction of the U.S. manufacturing as opposed to last year. So year over year, we're down 0.6% now, and this is starting the steep slope downward when it comes to manufacturing. Now, some of this is being impacted by the Boeing strike. I've told you that Boeing is a big deal, that manufacturing-wise, that is a major impact on the U.S. economy. We're not just talking about a company. Boeing buys parts from so many different companies out there. It employs such a large workforce that it's shut down due to the strike, which is still ongoing, is having a significant impact out there. Is that the whole point for? No, it's not, okay? But it is a portion of that, and it is definitely moving things in that direction. U.S. profit growth. We're just getting into earnings season where they are reporting their Q3 earnings through September. And guess what? Basically, all the projections out there are showing that, and this is a shocking statement, so I want to make sure I read it just properly. U.S. profit growth is negative for all but the largest companies. And this is the forecast for Q3. Now, who's coming up with this forecast? This is the Bank of America's forecast. Of course, they kind of know what's going on inside these companies, sort of like Nancy Pelosi knows what's going on in the government. Insider trading. Anyway. Yeah, basically the banks do what the politicians do. You know that, and I know that. We've all known that for a long time. They see all the money flows inside and outside their banks, and if you think that they don't use that information in order to play the stock market, you're kidding yourself, okay? If they have a company's bank accounts on their books and they see all the money inflow and outflow, you think that there isn't somebody in the back room crunching the numbers and going, hey, maybe we should short that stock this month because their income just went down. Their quarterly statement's not going to look good coming up. Anyway, Bank of America is saying this. They have information from the other banks as well. They're saying that basically all but just the few largest companies out there, their earnings are actually starting to come down. They're making less money. That is a significant problem. Even with inflation, with just inflation happening, everyone's earnings should be going up and up and up in order just to keep up with inflation, but that's not happening. We're seeing negative growth there. And it's hitting us on the street. Walgreens out there is looking to close. It's already started the process, and it is working towards closing 1,200 stores just in the next year. Now, if the economy was doing great, if the American consumer was strong and mighty and all that kind of stuff like that, we would be looking at Walgreens opening stores, right? Now, Walgreens is getting robbed blind in a whole bunch of places, so I think we can probably take an educated guess as to where some of these 1,200 stores might be, and if they might be in the inner city, that would not surprise most of us, I think. But it's not just a shoplifting issue. It's a simple fact of they have a lot of stores that are losing them money because people can't afford things. People are having to go to the supermarket and not go to the convenience drugstore. People are having to make hard choices in order to get by. The American consumer is tapped out. We're seeing that across the board. And the economy in the U.S. is not doing well. Everything is pointing to that. Now, we also have record high prices in different things. We got record high orange juice prices. We got record high orange prices. Why is that happening? Before we get on to some other things like coffee and such, but orange prices are near record highs after Hurricane Milton came through and slammed Florida. Destroyed, estimates are 3 million boxes of oranges. Now, I don't know why we measure oranges in boxes, but that's apparently a thing we do. So when we're talking about how many oranges you estimate in how many millions of boxes. Well, 3 million boxes of oranges is a lot of oranges, and those are all destroyed. They were knocked off the trees and destroyed. Now, previous years, the last couple of years, we've had some really bad harvests out there as well, and that has not helped things. We've had high orange juice prices over the last year, but they started coming down because they were hearing that there was going to be a good harvest this year and it was going to make all things right. And we keep hearing that out there, right? We have a problem. Oh, but everything's going to be fine because everything's going to turn out well going forward. We hear that with companies with their earnings. Oh, well, we're having a bad quarter here. We're having a bad half a year. We're having a bad year, but things are going to bounce back and things are going to be so much better going forward. And it's always the future projections that always bail us out. Just like how every time they do the budgeting Common Core math in Washington, D.C., they can always cobble out trillions of dollars worth of cuts, not from today's budget, but from the budget in 2034. The projections. They just kind of project that the economy is going to keep growing and that the taxes are going to keep going up and it's going to be fantastic, in 2034. And that's what's going to bail us out. That's why us spending more in 2024 actually gets us cuts, because in 2034 it's going to actually end up being a cut. And that's the kind of games that we're hearing played out there, but we're also seeing that in commodity markets as well. When I say commodity markets, I mean food markets like oranges, like coffee beans, like chocolate, cocoa. Cocoa, of course, is at record high prices too because of the bad harvest over on Ivory Coast and the surrounding countries in West Africa, where a significant proportion of the cocoa of the entire world is produced. So if you get chocolate, it's basically from one of those countries in West Africa, basically, unless you get some really specialty stuff that's grown elsewhere. But they had some bad harvests there. That has impacted cocoa prices, and I've been telling people that cocoa is going to be hard to find. If you want to get a tin of cocoa, that's going to get really pricey, and you're also going to find a lot of these products are going to start disappearing. Same thing with oranges. But now also we're seeing this kind of stuff happening on the cheap side of coffee. Robusta beans in Vietnam have had a decimating harvest, and we also have over in Indonesia, they've been having real bad harvests too. So basically the Robusta beans we've been having issues with. The Arabica beans are doing okay. That's the more expensive kind of stuff, but the Robusta beans is the cheap bargain side of things, and that's why you're seeing low budget grade coffee is going up in price significantly, and it is starting to impact the higher grades of coffee too, because people are just like, well, if I'm already paying this much for coffee, I might as well get the better stuff, right? And so they can just kind of switch over and pay just a little bit more and get the nicer stuff, and that's happening. We have coffee issues, we have cocoa issues, we have issues with the oranges, and we have rumors out there that there's going to be more rice issues. So everywhere we look around the world, but then particularly inside the U.S. economy, we're being told one thing, and yet the economy is playing out completely different. That's not good. And we know that the contraction is happening. We see it with our friends and family members who are having trouble getting jobs. We have friends and family members who are losing their jobs. We're having friends and family members who are not getting the raises even to keep up with inflation. All of this is pointing to the fact that people are struggling, and people are putting much of the spending. They haven't been contracting their lifestyle so much in the past year, 2 years, since some people got into DC. They haven't been contracting their lifestyle until just recently. We just started to see over the last couple months, people have started changing their habits. Up until now, they've just been putting it on their credit cards. So we've seen surging credit card debt. We've seen personal loan debt out there going up and up and up in order to kind of supplement the lack in people's paychecks. They have been taking out loans. They've been taking out, they've been pulling out loans against their equity in their homes. They've been pulling out car loans, stacking up car loans on top of car loans on top of car loans. That's been a big one. And then people have been racking up credit card debt. But now with credit card interest rates at record highs, people are realizing that's unsustainable, and they're starting to have to change things, and they don't want to because they've been told things are good. And for most people out there around them, things look good. And as people look at each other, everyone's faking it. But they don't realize that their neighbors are in as much pain as they are financially. They go to the grocery store, and people are for the first time picking up that great value or the discount brand when they really like their name brand stuff, right? People who don't do that are doing that. People who want to pick up some meat from the market are now picking up vegetables instead because they can't afford the meat. They're supplementing with potatoes, and they're supplementing with other things. This is kind of, on one hand, it's good. It's good that people are starting to budget, but they're doing it very late, and they're doing it very reactionary. They're in a bad spot, and that's why they're doing it, as opposed to doing it proactively, like, I want to be getting into a better spot, that's why I want to budget. So that's what we're seeing going on out there. People are tapped out. People are hurting financially. We can't take another 4 years of this. Let's just put it that way, okay? This insanity. You can't just print money, stacking the money up to the moon and then climbing up it in order to get to the moon is not a good strategy, okay? It has consequences. You can't just print money out of thin air and it not have consequences. We're starting to really feel the consequences, and the numbers out there are really starting to be impacted by the consequences of the decisions that are made in Washington, D.C. and by the Federal Reserve. Now, we're not going to talk about the European Union's central bank. We're not going to talk about the other central banks of the world, because that's all absolutely true in those places too. But I'm talking to us in the United States. We are suffering now because of the consequences of the leaders that we either selected or our leaders selected for us. The Federal Reserve is selected by the United States government, but we got some wind going on here, and I got a flimsy tripod. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the view here. I am in some place, I don't even know where I am. Burgos de la something. Ravina, I think. Burgos de la Vina, something. Anyway, I walked here and I'll walk back out and it'll be okay. My computer on my phone knows where I am, and I just follow the trail onto the next place as long as I have a lodging place set up. We're out here because my room is so tiny that I can't set up a tripod and a chair. It's like it's got a bed, and but I do have a private bath, and so I am living the lap of luxury. So I'm out here on the roof where people's clothes are drying, and like I said, I need to get in and go wash my clothes by hand in the sink, because that is what you do. But you don't want to be stinky, right? So we need to take things seriously with the economy, and I don't know, maybe more people need to wash their clothes in their sink. Maybe more people need to be tightening their belts as much as possible. I need to run down to the supermercado so I can save some money that way too, and get a cheap dinner, maybe some Caesar salad in a box that they have some really nice ones here sometimes. So friends, I'll keep you updated on what's going on out there with the economy, keep you updated on the things that are happening before they happen. Of course, we got updates coming out on price increases. Be watching out for those orange price increases. So if you have an hankering for some oranges or for some orange juice, you better grab it fast before the prices do start spiking over the next couple days and over the next couple weeks. So the futures prices have gone up, but your retail prices probably won't go up for another few days or another week or two before it really impacts the prices there. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.